My name is Rachel Parker, and I never imagined that one quiet evening at home would unravel truths I wasn't ready to face. That day started just like any other, calm and uneventful, but it ended with me questioning everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and the kind of person I wanted to be. It was a Saturday afternoon, and my husband Daniel had told me earlier in the week that he needed to stay late at work. He was an architect, often busy with projects that kept him out of the house longer than I wished. I had gotten used to it, though I still missed the days when we were first married and he couldn't wait to come home to me. By evening, the house felt too quiet. I walked through the living room, straightened the throw pillows, and flipped on the TV, but the noise only made the silence sharper. I tried reading, but the words blurred together. My phone sat on the coffee table, screen lighting up with occasional social media notifications, none of which mattered. That was when the doorbell rang. I frowned, glancing at the clock. It was close to 9. We rarely had visitors that late. Cautiously, I went to the door and peeked through the small glass pane. Standing there was someone I hadn't seen in years, Michael Turner. Michael had been a friend of mine back in college, one of those people who drifted out of my life when careers and families pulled us in different directions. He had moved to another city years ago, and we hadn't kept in touch beyond the occasional social media like. Seeing him on my doorstep that night felt surreal, like a ghost from the past had suddenly stepped into my present. I opened the door slowly. "Michael?" He smiled, that same crooked grin I remembered from years ago. "Rachel, I hope I'm not intruding. I was in town for work, and I don't know. I just felt like I should stop by and see you." Part of me was surprised, part of me was warmed, and part of me was wary. But I stepped aside and let him in. We sat in the living room, catching up like no time had passed. He told me about his job, his travels, and the way life had taken unexpected turns. I told him about Daniel, about how quiet the house sometimes felt, about the routines that filled my days. As we talked, I realized how long it had been since I had spoken so openly to someone, without filters or guarded words. But underneath our laughter and reminiscing was an unspoken tension. I could feel it like electricity hanging in the air. Michael's eyes lingered a little too long. My heart raced a little too fast. It would have been easy, too easy, to let that moment slip into something it shouldn't. The thought scared me because it revealed something I hadn't admitted to myself. I was lonely. Not unloved, not abandoned, but lonely in a way that gnawed at me. Michael must have sensed it too, because at one point he reached for my hand. The warmth of it sent a wave through me, a reminder of things I had pushed aside for years. For a heartbeat, I didn't pull away. But then I did. I stood abruptly, letting out a shaky laugh. "It's late. You should probably get going. Daniel will be home soon." Michael's expression softened. He didn't argue. Instead, he gave me a long, searching look and said, "You deserve to be happy, Rachel. Don't forget that." And then he was gone. I closed the door behind him, my hand trembling on the knob. My reflection in the hallway mirror looked different, like I had just faced a version of myself I didn't recognize. That night, when Daniel finally came home, exhausted and distracted, I watched him quietly. I thought about the distance that had grown between us, about the way our lives had slipped into routine. I thought about Michael's words. But most of all, I thought about the choice I had made. I had chosen not to betray my marriage. I had chosen to face my loneliness rather than escape it in a moment of weakness. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Because infidelity doesn't start with a single act. It starts with small justifications, with the lies we tell ourselves when we're hurting. In the weeks that followed, I didn't tell Daniel about Michael's visit. Not because I wanted to keep secrets, but because the real issue wasn't Michael at all. The real issue was the silence that had grown between Daniel and me. And that was something I needed to face directly. So one evening, I sat across from him at dinner and said, "Daniel, can we talk? I feel like I've been missing you, even when you're right here." He looked surprised, maybe even a little guilty. But then he put his fork down and reached across the table for my hand. "I've missed you too." That conversation was the beginning of something new. We started making small changes, date nights, evening walks, even just turning off the TV and talking for half an hour before bed. It wasn't perfect, and it didn't magically fix everything, but it was a step. Michael's unexpected visit had shaken me, but it also gave me clarity. It forced me to confront my loneliness and choose what kind of woman, what kind of wife, I wanted to be. And though part of me would always wonder what might have happened if I had chosen differently, I knew deep down that staying true to myself and my marriage was the path I wouldn't regret. Because in the end, love isn't about grand gestures or flawless perfection. It's about choosing, again and again, the person you promise to walk beside, even when the road gets quiet and the nights feel long. And sometimes, it takes an unexpected visitor to remind you of that truth.